Nestled between the Great Lakes and southern Ontario lies one of Canada's greatest natural treasures. In size, it is tiny, less than 1/4% of all of Canada, yet it is incredibly rich. Over 2,000 species of plants and over 400 kinds of birds have been recorded here. Today on Wild by Nature, we are going to visit a southern swamp forest, meet thousands of birds and their admirers, and search for an endangered species of snake. Join me, Michael Runtz, as we explore Canada's deep south, the Carolinian Zone. This morning we are in Rondeau Provincial Park on southern Lake Erie. Rondeau and the rest of the Carolinian Zone depend upon this and the other Great Lakes for their existence. The waters really modify the environment. They may keep temperatures a little bit cool in early spring as we have this morning, but they also keep the climate here very warm in the winter. They really extend the growing season, which allows the growth and development of southern flora. These waters not only modify the climate, they also really dramatically change the shape of Rondeau and other sand spits on Lake Erie. The water is extremely powerful, moving and depositing sand continuously. So over the years, this sand spit has changed not only shape, but also position. Let's wander inland now and meet some of the amazing southern plants and animals that call Rondeau and the Carolinian Zone home. This beautiful, beautiful woodland slough is the ideal habitat for a very rare southern warbler, the prothonotary. The warbler not only feeds in this habitat, but also nests here as well. If there's a standing dead tree with a hollow inside it, that is the ideal spot for the warbler to nest. But what a striking habitat, full of silver maples and black ashes. I just heard the call note of the prothonotary warbler, a very sharp call, somewhere back in here in that wetter slough area. One of the rarest birds in Canada is right up here. Let's go have a look for it. There it is. There's a male prothonotary right here. It just flew in. It's down by the edge of the water, working around behind a stump. If he comes out, we'll have a clear view of him. You see his beautiful coloration? It's incredible. Oh, what a view. What a view. You go out sometimes and you get a fleeting glimpse of a bird or another animal, and that's all you have. But that's enough reward. It makes you want to come back and look for it again. The Carolinian forest is a really rich habitat, and there are hundreds and hundreds of plant species all around me. Right down here is a spectacular flower you'll find in early spring. This is wild geranium, just stunning. There are other flowers too not far away. Over here, beautiful mayapple with the odd nodding flower. And the really strange looking squaw root, actually a parasitic plant living off tree roots. There's also some very spectacular trees here, very unusual trees you don't find anywhere else in Canada. Right here, this really coarse bark tree is a sassafras. Now the leaves are really interesting. This tree is too big though to see the leaves up close, but right over here is a smaller sassafras, where you can see the leaves quite well. Very odd leaves. Some have got 3 parts, some have got a single blade like this. Other ones only have 2, more like a little mitten almost. Sassafras, very southern tree, but quite common through certain parts of the Carolinian forest, especially Rondeau Park. Wow, what an amazing vine! All through the Carolinian forest you find plenty of vines, especially Virginia creeper as we have here. It's actually attached to one of the southern trees that make this area so unique. This tree is a tulip tree, named after spectacular flowers. So a very southern tree with a really spectacular vine attached to it. A divine vine. A lot of parks have enclosures to keep animals inside for you to view. Rondeau Park is quite a bit different. It has an exclosure to keep animals out. One animal in particular, and that is white-tailed deer. If you look inside the fence, you'll see plenty of plants my height and taller, and smaller ones next to the ground. Outside the fence, a different story altogether. There's lots of big trees, a few plants next to the ground, but nothing in between. That's because white-tailed deer have eaten everything in sight from as far as they can reach next to the ground. Quite obviously, too many white-tailed deer is not a good thing for a park like this or for the Callaghan forest. No, I haven't lost it. What I'm doing is trying to call in birds out of these trees. In spots like this where there's lots of leaves and it's very hard to see the birds, these calls can lure them in. It's called pishing or spishing. It's called that because the noise you make is like the sound shh with a P in front of it. So a psh, a pish sound. Psh, psh, psh. By doing that call repeatedly, small birds might be lured in, believing you found some sort of danger. When small birds do find small owls, perhaps, or other predators in their area, they often gather around and scold. Their alarm calls draw more small birds in. Eventually a small mob forms, which may drive that predator out of their territory. Thus, when small birds hear you, some are fooled into believing that you found a predator and you're calling them in. A word of caution though, if you're doing that call in a public area, for example a park like Rondeau or some public path, there's always people going by that aren't really bird watchers and aren't sure what you're doing. If someone calls out to you, "What are you doing over there?" never yell back, "Just pishing." You might get in trouble. Back to the calls. I'm afraid that bird's eluded us, but after the break, I'll bring you to a spot where there'll be lots of birds, guaranteed. Right now I am standing below the 42nd parallel. No, I'm not in Barcelona, Spain. No, I'm not in Northern California. I'm actually in Canada. Right now I'm standing on Point Pelee in Point Pelee National Park, one of the most famous birdwatching sites in the entire world. Let's see what's here. Here it is, the third week of May. Usually the point is covered in birds and bird watchers, but this year things are quite a bit different. Some years that point goes out up to half a mile, almost a kilometer in length. The storms though, the power of the lake, have caused that point to disappear. Also though, this year there are fewer birds in the park than normal for this time of year. The effects of El Nino have caused not only the leaves out here to open up earlier, but also the birds to pass through earlier. Normally birds of migration put down here on their way up farther north. This year though, many of the great movements of birds occurred earlier on, and also didn't stop here because the weather was just too nice and they kept on going. A lack of birds means a lack of bird watchers. Normally, right now, I'd be sharing this point with dozens of other bird watchers, but the word's gotten out, the birds aren't here, and the bird watchers aren't here. But in one way, that's kind of nice. We get the chance to be here by ourselves this morning. Let's enjoy the privacy. So what's out here? Well, a few ring-billed gulls, not too much. I think I spoke too soon. But that's okay. Actually, one of the most enjoyable aspects of birding is meeting other people with the very same interests.
That is.
Does your friend want to see them?
Yeah. You want to see the ready duck?
At Peely, you get the chance to see old friends and make new acquaintances. The social aspect of birding is one of the reasons it is the fastest growing outdoor activity in North America today. Point Peely, of course, is famous for its migration of birds, but a lot of species do nest here, and it's a great mixture. There are the very southern specialties and the more common birds with wider ranges. Right up here is a Baltimore oriole nest. The male is going back and forth, checking it out. It's that sock-like structure up high in that hackberry tree. And by the way, hackberries are a Callaghan species of tree. And in fact, Peely has the greatest density of these trees in the country. Right here is the nest of one of those southern birds that makes Peely so famous. It's a blue-gray gnatcatcher nest, and you can tell that very easily by all the lichens on the side of the nest. Normally these tiny little birds nest very high up in the canopy, but this one is down quite low. Such strange little sounds too for one of our birds. Very, very strange. Up here is the southern oriole, the orchard oriole. We saw the Baltimore back earlier. Well, up here in that hackberry is the orchard. It's a male, it's smaller than the Baltimore and much darker. Instead of having the bright orange that we saw, it's got more of a brick red color. Beautiful song though, more like a finch song with rattles and trills in it. Beautiful. Red-headed woodpecker 75, chipping sparrow 76, rufous-sided towhee 77, American goldfinch 78. Just doing my count for the day with this checklist, it really pays if you're out birding at Point Peely or anywhere else for that matter to bring a checklist with you. That way you can tick off the birds you have seen or thought you heard and have a running total for the day. Now actually today, that's a pretty darn good total, 78 species, because we're past the peak migration. The day's still young. If we head down to that tip, we might get another 22 and make our magic 100. On a really good day here in peak migration, it is rather easy to get 100 species. A bit harder on this later day in May this year. So let's pack up and head down there and try for that magic 100. Well, we didn't reach our 100 species goal, but so what? It's been a tremendous day here. You cannot come to Point Peely and ever leave feeling disappointed. Point Peely might be the southernmost point of Canada's mainland, but right behind me is an island even farther south. After the break, Peely Island and several animals found nowhere else in Canada, not even here in Point Peely. Aren't these yellow flags spectacular? Too bad they're not native. However, there are many native plants on Peely Island, some quite rare in Canada. Oh, what a stunning flower. This is Miami Mist, one of the many flowers found here in Peely Island. It prefers to grow near large openings, like this flat limestone plain called an alvar. The alvar is also home to two unique snakes. Right now, Ben Porchuk and Rob Wilson, behavioral ecologists with the University of Guelph, are out here tracking down those snakes. Let's go find these guys and talk to them. Now, Rob, you're tracking fox snakes right now, as Ben did with the racers a couple of years ago. As I understand, you implant surgically a transmitter in the snakes and then track them down with this.
Well, the radio transmitter gives off a pulse, and the receiver here will pick that pulse up. And it's frequency dependent, so each of our snakes has a different frequency. So we just sort of dial them in, and we can track down their exact location. The closer we get, the stronger the signal gets.
This is an amazing tool in following animals that are really hard to see and quite elusive, isn't it?
Yeah, because snakes are so secretive before radio telemetry, you really couldn't find out what they were doing, and you couldn't observe the intricacies of their behavior until now. She is definitely pretty close. Can you see her? She's moving up through the grass there.
She's gone, so maybe we should go back on our search with Ben for the racers.
Okay, I've got one here already.
Oh, there it is!
I got it. Just got it by the tail.
Wow, nice snag. Now, obviously, the name Blue Racer comes from the coloration of the snake. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, and it's pretty variable, and some are gray all the way around, others are quite a bit more blue, but all of them will have that black mask, and you can see on the side of the face there, and they also have a sort of an orange, kind of a bronze colored snout, and when they move, they have a really distinctive way of moving too, by usually lifting up their head and looking around and being really quite alert, and they actually move more than a lot of snakes. Actually, these snakes range over huge areas and have all sorts of requirements within their big ranges.
Actually, we're quite lucky to be that close to initially, because it's a bit cool this morning, and these snakes are very fast, aren't they?
Yeah, and to go out and find one like this is really quite rare. Usually we have them tagged and we know where they are, so this happens once every I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 times a year you can go out and just see them sunning themselves.
You've been studying these snakes here for a couple of years. How many are on the island? How many are in Canada?
Well, the Canadian population remains here exclusively, and at the last count we estimated there were about 200 adults left here.
You're scanning what now?
Microchips, and she doesn't have one, so she's a new snake to the population.
Ah.
At least one that we haven't seen. And it's a female, so it's an encouraging sign.
How do you implant the microchips?
Well, we can put one in and show you, actually. Inside the vial here, I have about 20 transponder microchips, and they're individual identification tags. They're basically like a barcode.
Yeah.
And you can see they're about the size of a grain of rice, and I put them in with an injection needle. On these snakes, the easiest spot that I've found to put the tags in are along the belly scales right in here, which are called the scutes. And what we do is we just rub the pads with alcohol, and then we inject the needle and apply a little bit of pressure there, because it occasionally bleeds. But for the most part, it's a pretty smooth operation. They don't even notice it. You can barely even see the hole that
it's already done.
The microchip went in, and that's
she hardly moved. That's
hardly
incredible.
moved at
Yeah.
all.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay, so I'll just
check it out and see if it
I'll
works.
just scan her to make sure. And the number of this snake for the rest of its life will be 412F141000. So we'll likely refer to her as 1000 when we recapture her again.
500 grams.
It's a female.
So there's only about 100 kilograms of Blue Racer in Canada.
100 kilograms?
Yeah. If that's 500 grams, and there's
Yeah.
200 Blue Racers.
That's roughly an average size, too.
Probably all the Blue Racers in Canada are the same biomass that I am.
You're 200 kilograms, or you said 100?
100 kilograms.
100 kilograms, yeah.
This car.
That's pretty interesting. Wow, this is an incredible thrill holding one snake that I've never seen until today. And just knowing that this is an endangered species, that there's only a couple hundred of these individuals in Canada. This is a beautiful natural shoreline.
Oh, it is. It's so important too. This natural tree fall that you see here. This is excellent snake nesting habitat right before our eyes.
Well, the combination of rotting wood for sure.
Yeah, there's cover there, and what the snakes do, once they get inside a cavity like that, they lay their eggs and then they leave them for the rest of the summer. The eggs have a lot of moisture and heat with the rotting wood inside, and they're protected from predators. This type of habitat is disappearing more and more as we get more cottages.
Loss of habitat, fragmentation, and isolation are real problems facing the Callaghan zone. But there are efforts underway to protect and even restore this precious part of Canada. This is good news for the many species of animals, such as red-bellied woodpeckers and fox squirrels, and the astounding diversity of plants that call only the extreme southern tip of this country home. Callaghan, Canada is full of unique treasures like this blue racer. Thanks for coming along on our journey into this precious part of this country. Join me next time for another adventure where everything we meet is wild by nature.